Well, the official beginning of the Bilderberg meeting has begun today, and our InfoWars reporters are there on the ground. We're going to be playing some of their reports coming up later in the segment, but now Bilderberg has been exposed. It's been forced now into the international news. Our story was the top article there on the Drudge Report, as well as we have many other mainstream media outlets having to cover this event. Now, a lot of them are kind of taking the talking points directly from the Bilderberg's own website, but at least we have finally got them to begin talking about this meeting of elites. Now, coming up in the next few segments, we'll be checking in with our reporters who are there on the ground. And of course, you'll hear their story of how they've been detained. Imagine that they were in Germany. They demanded their papers, please. But we'll definitely be getting a lot more reports coming out of Germany. Now, this is a top story coming from Kit Daniels. He's reporting on the food stamp outage that could trigger nationwide riots. Apparently, thousands, if not millions, of people who are on food stamps haven't gotten any of their benefits. It's 9 days into the month now, and they say it's due to, quote, glitches in the electronic benefit transfer system. But many Americans are worried that if this outage continues, mass civil unrest will erupt. There is a website that reports on these glitches, downdetector.com, and they are just all over. The boards are lit up talking about, this is going to get really crazy. All you need is a little spark, and what's better to fuel rioting than a lot of hungry people who are just trying to feed their families. So we've reported in 2013 about the administration and how they had a goal to dramatically increase food stamp enrollment in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And, they've encouraged mass dependency on the welfare system. So they're basically ensured nationwide rioting at the flick of a switch when there is a large-scale collapse on the food stamp program. So many people are dependent on this. So this corresponds with a strategy called pressure from above and below, and it's when the government deliberately creates problems, and then they offer solutions that only expand government powers at the expense of individual rights. So this is incredibly frightening, and just more credence to the idea that you need to be taking care of yourselves, figuring out how to grow food for your own family, and don't put yourself at the mercy of a government who will decide that they want to play with you and your family's life. Now, the feds can't even fund the welfare program that it sought to dramatically increase. Here's another fail. They can't pay for this disastrous Obamacare program. Now, some leading senators are seeking to stop the Obama administration. They're wanting to provide some health insurers with a $2.5 billion taxpayer-funded bailout. This is under a provision in the Affordable Care Act. So the senators are now petitioning their colleagues on key committees, and they're ensuring that we are not going to have to foot the bill for the excess costs that have been incurred by insurance companies who've been selling low-cost coverage under the Obamacare program. We knew this was going to be a disaster. We knew the only people that were going to be signing up were people who were incredibly sick and needed this, but the young people who are having to foot the bill, the young healthy people, just weren't going to sign up, even with making it a federal mandate. So this is centers around a contested Obamacare provision known as risk corridors. And a lot of Republican senators have been trying to fight against this risk corridor provision for the last 2 years. The federal government compensates insurance companies if they wind up with larger costs as a result of selling cheap insurance policies to unhealthy individuals under Obamacare. So they knew that was going to happen, so they wrote the provision right in. And that's not it. Obama, he's leaving legacies left and right. That's not all the U.S. taxpayers are funding. We're also funding Iran's military expansion, and that was thanks to the failed deal that was the Iran nuclear agreement. So this is $1.7 billion that the U.S. Treasury transferred to Iran's central bank in January. They transferred it during a prisoner swap, and as well the implementation of last year's nuclear deal. And they kept saying, it was unclear what Iran's government's going to do with this money, but now we know that they have approved it. Iran's central bank has approved it to transfer to the military. So there you go. That's your taxpayer money. As Trump would say, it's a bad deal. Now, is it going to be any different under Hillary Clinton? I don't know. She's already admitted to faulty bookkeeping at her foundation. This was after a really hard-hitting interview by Anderson CIA Cooper, who asked her, about the fact that her foundation hasn't been wholly transparent, that they've obviously raised huge sums of money from foreign donors. And she said, have there been some instances that slip through the cracks? Yes, but overwhelmingly, anything that they've disclosed, everything else. So he gave her basically several minutes to just brag about how great her foundation is and how nothing untoward has happened. So now the mainstream media can say, well, we talked about her foundation. We covered it with her. And Clinton herself said that no improprieties were found. Case closed. We don't need to talk about the Clinton. Now let's get back to the Trump University or whatever new scandal they can come up with. And now President Obama has finally come out and endorsed Hillary Clinton. But what did President Selfie Stick have to say about Donald Trump?
I'm sure they're going to have a conversation.
Is he ever going to drop out? Or he's just going to stay in? And it's like,
yeah, I'm going to be talking tomorrow. He's going to be coming to the White House. And the main role I'm going to be playing in this process is to remind the American people that this is a serious job. This is not reality TV.
This is coming from the president, who cannot wait to be an ESPN correspondent. He previously appeared on a Slow Jam skit with Fallon. He's been a guest on Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Late Show with David Letterman, The Daily Show, The Colbert Report. And last December, speaking about reality TV, he made headlines when he appeared on NBC's Survival Show, a reality TV show, Running Wild with Bear Grylls. Like, I can guarantee Obama has probably tried to push getting his own reality TV show, but he wants to call out Donald Trump.
The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding and making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the info war to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.